The presentation of today's racing program is a copyrighted broadcast of the New York Racing Association, Incorporated. Any rebroadcast, recreation, or retransmission of this broadcast without the expressed written consent of the New York Racing Association, Incorporated is strictly prohibited.
Ladies and gentlemen, to honor America, please stand for our national anthem.
The horses are now nearing the starting gate. And they're off. As the field comes into the stretch.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Aqueduct. Pretty nice day here in Queens, New York. Temperature right around 40 degrees. Supposed to get into the low to mid 40s today. Sunny skies. The main track is fast for our 8-race card that kicks off at 12:50 this afternoon. Mandatory payout in the Empire 6 begins in race number 3. Here are the changes for today's races. Early pick 5 begins in the first, and there are no changes. No changes in the second. Early pick 4 begins in race number 2. Mandatory payout in the Empire 6 begins in race 3. These scratches. Scratch the 4, Corkman. The 8, Prince of Caps. And the 9, Ladies Boy. Scratch the 4, 8, and 9 out of race number 3. Late pick 5 begins in race 4 on the 8-race card. No changes in the 4th. Late pick 4 begins in race number 5. An equipment change on the number 8. Run, Smitty, run. Blinkers on. Blinkers on the 8. Run, Smitty, run in race number 5. No changes out of race 6. Race 7, please note, there'll be no show, trifecta, or superfecta wagering in race 7. Scratch the 2, Whistling Birds, and the 5, Looking at Bikinis. Scratch the 2, Whistling Birds, and the 5, Looking at Bikinis from race number 7. No show, try, or superfecta wagering in race number 7. And in race number 8, a rider change for the number 1, No More Miracles. Make the jockey Eric Cancel. Eric Cancel rides the 1, No More Miracles. Waive the apprentice allowance. Correct weight should read 120 pounds. 120 pounds, and Eric Cancel on the 1, no more miracles, in race number 8. Fast main track for the 8-race card. We'll be back at 12:20 with a reprise of today's scratches and changes. Coming up next, the Thursday edition of Talking Horses with myself and Andy Serling.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Talking Horses, the Big A. Track announcer, the Big A, Anthony Stabile, Andy Serling. You ready for week number 2 of your announcing gig? This is a long run for you.
I am, yeah.
Rest up a lot? Did you go into like a hyperbaric chamber over the last 3 days just to get sort of ready for
No, took it nice and easy. Saw Mike Smith, one of the Pinkertons here, not the Hall of Fame jockey of over 5,000 wins. Talked a little bit about our weekend. Nice and relaxing.
Nice to see Mike.
Always great to see Mike.
A lot of people know Mike. He's probably most known by people as being at the paddock, the main entrance at Saratoga,
Exactly.
where the horses come from the Oklahoma, where the paddock gate is. And Mike's been here a long time.
Always good seeing Mike. Yep.
Terrific guy, absolutely.
He roams the executive and private offices here. So
Does he?
by the booth and
24/7 or?
No, I think.
Oh, so you see him upstairs sometime?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I see him occasionally here. I see him around, but yeah, Mike's
Checks
been
everything before the card starts and after the card's over.
Been here a long time, hasn't he, Mike?
Yeah, been here a while.
One of our
Nice to
many
catch up
fine
with Mike
people
when I
working
got
here.
here this morning.
Like all the security guards. He's got great guys working in security here, top to bottom.
Guys and gals,
Yeah,
they're all
yes,
they're
correct.
all a bunch of
Top to bottom.
Some of them been here as long as we've been coming.
Who's better than Jonathan greeting us downstairs when we come in?
Jonathan's great. I mean, Louis's been here. Louis and Anthony have been here 30 years.
You know the security guards better than I do because you probably knew them better when you didn't work here.
I did.
Anyhow, you need to head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member, NairaBets.com. We'll match them to $200 of your initial deposit. Use the promo code MATCH200. Sign up for Naira Bets. Important to play through Naira Bets and play through racetrack. ADWs, they're racetrack based, so the money isn't going to private investors, but it gets reinvested in the game. It's a sport that can't afford to have money taken out of it. And in this case, playing through Naira Bets on Thursdays at Aqueduct will give you a little bit more back, a 2% rebate across the board on all bets you place through the app, and the app only on Naira Bets on Thursday. That's what's keeping me afloat this winter, actually.
To 2%.
Yeah, it is what it is. Anyhow, should we get to work? Race number 1. There's a heavy favorite in race number 1, Another Shot. Take a look at Another Shot, running third last time. It was a quick pace in here, to be fair. The second horse, Double Pour, was on the pace. The winner came from way back in here. Did have a little bit of trouble. Probably the winner should have won a little bit more easily. I'm not in love with horses like Another Shot. He is who he is. But I didn't see any of the new faces, the horses that ran on the turf, or anybody that did a lot for me. And the reality is, I thought he ran well enough last time that he's just way the horse to beat in here. He's not going to be 2-1. He's going to be odds on in all likelihood. He probably should be odds on, Anthony, and he's just way the horse to beat.
Yeah,
I didn't have another idea.
Me either. Fresh gelding since his last start, which was about 5 weeks ago. 7 of the 8 runners here now that they've turned 3 are going to get LASIK for the first time. But yeah, and he takes another little bit of a drop from the 40 to the 25. He is what he is. And if he runs his last race, if he runs his first race, you know what, Andy? There's a really good chance if he runs his second race, he's going to be amazing.
Not his second race. Second race was bad.
Second race will put it, but his second race could put him right there, and the other 2 races just.
No, second race?
Yeah, I mean, I
was a
don't
bad
think anybody's
race.
run a better dirt race than his second race on paper.
I think that actually the second race points out that he is probably a little questionable on a wet track.
Yeah.
Because it was a lot worse than his other 2 races. His dry track races are faster than these, and he showed last time the mile distance shouldn't be a problem. You go through, who else is going to take money here? Well, the Michelle Nevin first-time star is going to take some money. The 5 War of Thrones. This is a War Dancer, and I know that a War Dancer won for Michelle in an off-track the other day. It was the only dirt win for that sire.
Only one.
And, to be fair, it's the first year. The vast majority of them ran the turf, so I don't really think you want to get overly caught up in that stat, but there's a reason they ran the turf. And
I thought it was a decent enough sample size, though. I thought it was like 1 for 17, which I know is not, but he's.
That's
like
not good enough for me.
No, I understand that, but like you said, as a first, it's his first crop.
Well, they
on the
rate to
track.
be probably bred to dams that have a little more turf to
Right.
it. And even Put It Back, who's the dam sire, seems like he's had some success and more with some turf horses. So I'm not going to be optimistic. A first-time start a mile from War Dancer. Doesn't mean the horse can't win, but I don't want to guess with that horse. You seem to have the same feeling. Daggerboard. I thought Daggerboard, the 8, was just atrocious last time. And I think we both have him in there because it's such a weak sort of looking field. But I mean, he wasn't chasing the pace. He had a nice stalking spot. It's not like he even ever had any forward movement. He'd have to be a completely different horse today, right?
Yeah. His only defense is it was 8.5 months. So maybe he needed the race. But, you know, if we go back to, I'm sorry, not 8.5 months. It was only 3 months. I had the wrong horse. If we go back
he
to
did not start in February.
and if we
He
go-
didn't start in February as a 2-year-old.
if we
They
go
looked for a spot for
if
him,
we
but
go
couldn't find
back
it.
to
Didn't fill.
one of our other, you know, little ditties up here, ran this horse on the turf first time out. I mean, you know, and he didn't really do a ton of running. I mean,
And it's also weird that he ran the horse in the turf first time out because the dam Rub-a-Dub-Dub, a horse that we know around here, Michael Dubb's horse originally, not
Obviously,
surprisingly
right.
given the name, she was actually a capable dirt sprinter. You know, she wasn't a superstar, but she was
but
okay.
she won and she earned on the dirt.
She was
yeah.
okay, and so he ran the horse in the turf. Now, listen, maybe the race came up, or who knows, you know. So, all right, fine, but then they tried the dirt, and the horse was terrible.
Horse was terrible last. I mean, the horse had no excuse last time.
And the pedigree, I know the sire is a Ms. Mass, but it's not screaming more distance. Even though the dam's a Harlington, that horse was really a sprinter.
She was a sprinter.
I put. You got the 4 second. I got the 2 second here. Go Cash Go. Ran against better horse for Ray Handel. Finally gets a dry track. Blinkers on. And the other thing about the 2 Go Cash Go, this horse is supposed to be in front. And I'd rather, if I'm going to take another horse, take a price horse that's going to be in front in this race that finally gets a dry track.
Blinkers go on.
Not that I'm in love with the horse,
Yeah,
but that's my
no, I understand.
sort of
I
other
understand.
pricey horse.
I went with Swinging Sticks, who, you know, on paper it looks like it's a little bit more of a dirt pedigree. I don't
Agreed.
know, right? Gets
No,
the
no, I
blinkers
agree.
come off. This horse didn't take a dime first time out, which kind of scares you with Jorge Abreu after the year he had last year.
I didn't like that his firsters usually take some money.
I'm not saying-
it's. I'm not saying he can't. I'm not. But that's one of the things that kept me away from
Yeah.
the lack of play.
And I honestly, I thought he would be. I'm not saying I thought it was going to be 20-1.
Well, it's
I didn't think he'd be the second choice on the morning line.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be David making the line
No,
behind
me
the
either.
number 3. If I were David, and I'm not the morning line maker, and he's better than I am by about 50 miles, but I would have probably made the 8 second choice, the Brad Cox horse. That's all. And the horse ran the dirt, but he didn't run well last time. And you know, we'll see what happens. But Aptitude is the damn sire in Swinging Sticks. Did he ever have a good runner?
I can't remember one.
I know he was a famous money bird.
I do remember Bobby Frankel called me when he came into the barn. He said, "I'm going to win the Kentucky Derby," and that was probably
second or third?
He was second.
Yeah.
That was probably July.
Full
And
peg, right?
he called me back in November, and he was like, "I'm not winning the Kentucky Derby. Drysdale got something over there that I can't even pronounce his name." He said, and he says he likes this other horse just as much, and it was War Chant and Fuseiji Pegasus. And they both wound up in the Derby.
No, I remember
Yeah.
War Chant, who won the Breeders' Cup
Mile
Mile
that year.
Aptitude had that huge blowout win in the Jockey Club, right? Did he win the Jockey Club by like
Yeah,
14
Gallop.
lengths or something
Yeah,
crazy? And
he
then I think he
galloped.
was favored in the Breeders'. Could he have been favored in the Breeders'? That was as a 4-year-old.
I think he was favored in the
2001 Breeders' Cup, the one that that was here because he had the big win here. He might have been.
He was favored over Saki and
Well,
he
I
was
mean,
9-2 and Tisnow was
7-1.
7-1.
Tisnow hadn't run he'd run okay, but he had
Yeah.
run in the preps, and
He may have been the favorite
I
in
think
that race.
he was favored in that
Wow.
race. In fact, I'm going to guess he was a fairly heavy favorite in there.
Okay.
Didn't show up at all. I probably picked him. Race number 2. I actually thought race number 2 was the more interesting races on the card. And I actually wanted to start in here with Big Mountain because I think he's such an important horse in this race because they've got to go with him. And I know that Steam Engine is sort of technically faster than he is, but after the race he ran, going a mile last time out, I don't want Big Mountain sitting off another horse. And I got to tell you something. This was probably one of the more gutsy win performances of 2020 we saw for any horse at any level.
Just took them all on and just kept on going. Yeah,
He
was
do it
good.
with a favorite, the Rudy horse they loved, who's that good horse who I like, Skylar Scramjet.
Yeah.
That horse was done at the 5/16 pole.
Left him for
He
like he
ran.
was standing still. Yeah. Big effort. So I think the problem.
So he has him 4th, and I'm out of the money.
Well, here's the. I think the
I don't know what he
issue.
does
I think
here.
the biggest issue with him is we've now seen him for a couple of stints here at Aqueduct, and his races going a mile, going a little longer, they're just better than his sprints. That's what the numbers say. That's what it says on his races going longer are just a little bit better, if not a lot better, than his sprint races. Now I know he won sprinting 2 back, but he kind of got away with an easy lead 2
He did.
starts back.
Oh, he did.
So
He did.
you
All
know
the
it's
speeds
hard to
rated.
really
You're right.
gauge But, I mean, to me, he's just a little bit better with some more ground.
Well, the other thing is...
Part of the reason for that is, too,
the
because
paces are faster. That's the reason. With the presence of steam engine, it's kind of tough. So the Caretaker is the obvious horse to pick him up. I will say that Seven Lilies had a better trip than the Caretaker had last time, okay? It wasn't significantly better, but it was a little bit better, saved a little more ground. This was from the track, the inside was very good, but this race collapsed. The Caretaker ran well, 2 back. Is it worry you how many seconds this horse has?
Yes, of course.
And you look at a race like this.
Where he had the winner
He had it won. And listen, Seven Lilies in good form and had a slightly better trip. So I don't want to completely, criticize him on that level, but it bothers me how often he runs
I don't
second.
disagree. I don't disagree. I tried to make 1 or 2 others in here, but I just think, the consistency, the fact that there are 3 horses who look like they need to lead or want to lead, and then there's a horse like him who consistently runs a buyer in those mid-80s. If he fires one of his, and he's one of these, he's the horse in the race where if they all come to play today and they all fire their best shot, he's going to win. Now, maybe he can't run his best shot anymore, but he has enough consistency where one of his usual efforts, I think, along with the pace help, gets him to the winner's circle.
I'm
finally
not sure
today.
if they all fire their best shot, he's going to beat Big Mountain.
Oh,
It's
if
close.
they all fire their best shot, sprinting especially, he's got Big Mountain beat.
Big Mountain's got some very big efforts in there. I'm gonna have to. I guess his very best race, but his very best race is an unlikely run. That's not unfair. I mean, do you want Gemography to pick up the pieces in here? He's obviously in great form for Mark Henning. The problem I have is this is a big step up for him.
Huge.
He's been in great form. He seems to work out good trips. He draws inside, so he'll probably get another good trip in this race. There figures to be at least an honest pace. I just feel like this is a giant move up for him.
Yeah, I don't disagree. He got a pretty good setup last time. The truth of the matter is, he's supposed to get another pretty good setup in here today.
I agree,
He is.
but under the best of circumstances, he's running figs that put him on the fringe of winning the race,
Correct.
and that's a problem.
He's got to step up.
That's a problem because you say, and I agree, he should get a good trip, but you don't want to bet horses that need to get a good trip and improve to win, especially relatively short prices. Silly Key, maybe he takes a step forward. I got to tell you, I'm a huge fan of Linda Rice's, but I think Linda Rice wouldn't have any argument with the notion that her barn is chilly. She has not been winning races, and she's had some short price horses that have been underperforming. So, like a lot of trainers that win a lot of races, when they're cold, I want their horses to start running a little better.
And I put him third. The other problem with him
win.
is he can win. The other problem with him is he's kind of in the same boat as Gemography. He's got to work out the trip, and he's got to take a step forward. He probably has to take a little bit of a bigger step forward than Gemography does. Problem also with him is his better races have been when he's been involved early. And
No, I don't agree with that.
No?
No, I thought his effort in the notebook last year was giant. I thought he ran very well that day. I don't agree with that. I think he can run. I think he got involved because he had to get involved.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
I'm betting Bronx Bomber. I bet him last time. He literally took a right turn and fell down after the start, and he actually made a significant run to contention in that race before understandably flattening out. You liked him 2 back. He ran very well. He draws the perfect post to stalk outside of the speeds in here. Yes. Obviously, he's better if he can control, but he has stalked effectively in the past. I want to give this horse one more chance to Randall. I thought he was really improving with his start 2 back. Thought he was in very good form. I can throw at his last race, and I am committed to betting this horse.
That's
I
fine.
don't love him, but I'm committed to betting in here because I don't totally trust anyone in here, and I think he's going to run better than his odds. Whether or not that makes him good enough, that's another question.
I don't know if it's still a sour taste from 2 back, but the way I look at it is he couldn't hold Just Right off when he had a pretty good setup.
Yeah, they knew Just Right was going to run.
They did.
Look who ran third in there.
They did, but let me ask you a question. I'm going to do what you would do to me in here. What would Just Right be in here?
I agree, but I think he ran a better race than Just Right.
I don't disagree.
And the thing about Just Right is they kind of knew he was going to run that day.
I don't disagree with that either.
I'm not. You're not totally wrong. I'm not going to. That's a very fair point.
And the fact that he does his best work when he's controlling, and
he's stalked before. He's stalked before and run good figures. He's stalked before and run good figures. I'm giving him one more shot. I don't love it.
Hey, listen, he's going to be a square price. He'll
Right.
be the second longest shot on the board behind Steam Engine.
The
unless
third
they
race,
know about Steve Engine.
third race kicks off the Empire 6, at least through January. If not past that, we'll be paying out the entire pool every day to the people who have tickets with the most winners. 6, 5, whatever the case may be, 20-cent minimum, 20% takeout.
Good pick, some good payouts so far.
This has sort of become ridiculous. I mean, you had a race where, yeah, if you want to use social group, the first-time starter, fine. Neither one of us are in love with taking firsters going a mile, blah, blah, blah. An Uncle Mo that's a maiden claimer. It's just not particularly compelling. You had two horses that both ran that were overwhelmingly the two choices. You could have used the firster and the two horses, and you could have used three and gotten through the race in all likelihood. The two that can run scratched. You're left with sort of a preposterous situation. I wouldn't recommend betting social group in this race at what's going to be even money, even if he can't run, but I don't know where else to do. So I have the firsters 1-2 just as you do.
So
I'm not going to endorse either one of these horses.
I put social group on top before the scratches.
You're
just
an idiot.
because, well, I'm a little bit of an
idiot.
loon. I didn't love either. I thought both of the horses that were going to take money to run had some holes. Well,
I thought Prince of Caps was a cinch.
Okay, that's it's a moot point now. If you want to bet on social group when he's going to be 5 or 6 to 1, and you think the horses that have run are no good, that's a different story than taking even money on a horse that, quite frankly,
they're first-time starters.
They're first-time
They might
starters.
not be able to run at all.
Right, but well, from what I don't want to speak for you. From what I've seen from the rest of the field, one of these two first-time starters almost has to win this race.
Well, look at who I picked third. I actually considered, I'll be honest with you, if Cetus Kid had a different rider in here, I don't want to be too hard on this rider, but he's not a rider I want to bet my money on. I was at a different rider, I'd have picked Cetus Kid on top. This horse has figures going back. They're fast enough to win this race, and I would have taken a shot and thrown this horse on top at a price.
Can't believe, I guess because of the COVID, like kind of feel like you lost the year. Remember when he made that big run at like 46 to 1? And it looked like he was home Jerome, and I think the favorite held on, or somebody came and got it. Came back, right. Yeah, and then he came back and he ran like 2 good efforts after that, and then he tailed back off again. Hey, listen, what about Bold? I put Bold Gem third.
His dirt races are absolutely atrocious, and he's going to vie for favoritism in this race, given the scratches. He's actually the thing. The reason this race could be a bettable, in my opinion, is he's an over horse on the surface he prefers, and his dirt races are absolutely atrocious, especially on fast tracks.
They're bad.
Now, listen, I'm not going to fall over if anything happens in this race, but I think he's going to get bet in here. Are you going to be shocked if he's 8-5?
No.
I mean, seriously.
No.
Got 70 plus buyers showing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be surprised if he's any kind of short price in this race. And no, I don't like that horse. Like I said, anyone can win this race, but he's one.
He's only got one fast track race, so.
Look at his early starts. Go back and look at his lifetime PPs. Go back and look at the lifetime PPs of Bold Gem and tell me you want to bet him in this race.
No,
he's all yours.
Just saying.
Yeah. No, but he's going to be short because of turf races. This is race, really. Race number 4. When I was handicapping this race, and I imagine you had a similar thought, you're thinking, I'd like to see the scratches in here because there are a few speeds signed on in this race.
And 2 of them from the same barn in Wayne Potts.
They're all running, and I mean, Dial 1 is very fast. Now, the horse I'll show here earned success, and one of the reasons I showed him is because he's part of the pace, and I think the pace is the most important conversation in this race. He ran very well in this race. I know it was a bottom level claimer, and he's staying in the bottom. This race came apart. And he showed that he could stalk a quick pace and a pace that collapsed and still hold on. I look at this horse and I think he is who he is. He's running cheaper races, but he's probably a horse that should have been on the engine his entire career.
Yeah, he's been a lot better. This is one of the reasons Wayne Potts has success. Wayne Potts has success because they're aggressive. I mean, look no further than next door to Dial 1. This is a horse who never really showed a lot of speed on all weather. He gets back onto.
Well, he's not a Wayne Potts horse, though. He's the owner, James Aquilino, owns his horses. He's just not Aquilano. So he's not a Wayne Potts horse. I mean, he went outside him a long time ago, and he wasn't showing speed.
Right. But I think these guys, I think they kind of learn because, you know, maybe that's a
He's
bad
a speed
example.
horse. I mean,
Yeah,
he's a speed horse. He's run well. He's run against decent horses. I don't love Breezeburner, who beat him last time. He's supposed to have speed. Isn't Justin Front supposed to go? Isn't It's Hot Out have speed here?
Justin Front kind of pressed from the inside.
I know somebody else will wire the field at a monstrously slow pace because that's the way it gets played around here.
It's Hot Out supposed to go too, right? The 9?
Yeah, that's what I said to you. Said that. There's speed in here. You would think there at least be an honest pace. You've taken Desert Lights, who's sort of the wise guy horse. Hold off on the stat, Jose. Why don't you talk about Desert Lights?
You know, I think if you strip some of this,
I
think if you strip the distance races and the wet track races, and you just get to the crux of the dirt sprints on the fast tracks, this horse has missed the board just 3 times on fast tracks. Now, I mean, I know he's run some slow figures. At the very least, he's going to be a price. We just mentioned all the speed in here, right?
He's an interesting horse.
He's an interesting horse.
I don't disagree with you. Getting back to a fast track sprinting, I found a stat for what it's worth with Jeremiah Engelhardt at Naira. He's got very, very good numbers with his turnbacks here, so they work. I agree. He's absolutely a long shot I'm going to use in this race. I don't disagree. You like him. Mike Beer's got him on top. I definitely think he's actually interesting in here. The logical horses are Loverboy Lou, the 4.
Sure.
I'm not putting Linda Rice on top at a short price until she starts winning. Not to pick on her, and I tease Linda, but she and I are friends, but I think she'd agree. Like I said, and Honorable Service is a horse I'm interested in. Now, we've seen Michael Moore's horses have no success here. I get it. He's also run a lot of horses at big prices, and this is a significant drop down. And the truth is, I'm not sure if he runs his race last time out where he had a big wide trip on December 7th, 19th, the day you wanted to be on the rail, and I know that race collapsed. But the reality was he was out there, and it's just like they sort of gave up on him. I think he's still fast enough to win this race, and I thought he'd be a slightly better price, so I put him on top. I'm going to use 3, 4, 8 in this race. They're the 3 that I want. I guess I could use a little bit of the number 6 Earned Success because he really did run well last time.
Do you worry about Dial 1 being the speed of the speed?
I worry about anybody being the speed of the speed because around here, I don't worry about that stuff because spending your time trying to figure that out around here is just
I don't mean by figuring out. What I meant by that, Andy,
you could possibly
like
find.
if you're playing multis.
I don't like that horse.
Okay.
I don't particularly like that horse. So even if he's the speed, I don't particularly like him. 6 furlongs here, he's going to beat me. I'm not saying he can't, but he's going to beat me. That's the first 4, the early pick 4, and also race number 4, by the way, begins the late pick 5. The late pick 4 starts race number 5 and back after a quick break.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. The Big A, Anthony Stabile, Andy Serling.
Both wear purple today. That happens. That happens a lot.
I wear purple about twice a week,
Yeah,
Anthony,
no,
so it's not
that's
really
why I was saying
difficult
it's-
for you to hit it when you decide to wear purple.
That's true.
It's a Barney thing.
Make a great point.
By the way, in case you didn't notice at home, we're both wearing purple today.
I had a great point with, you know, got the
You're
first.
not allowed to give yourself a great
No,
point.
you know who got the first great point of the year earlier this week? Steve Bick. I gave Steve Bick the first great point of the year.
Which was?
It was kind of a personal matter, but he got a great point about it. I had to do with the Eclipse Awards. Told you, I knew you wouldn't want to know. You should have just left
I went
it alone.
off on Steve's show, actually, on
Did you?
Tuesday about the irresponsibility of some of the voters and people who think they're voters that may or may not be voters. Yeah, and I'm not going to.
You don't vote, correct?
I don't vote because people in my job should not have votes. I work for the New York Racing Association, and I think there is a very valid argument that I'm not a turf writer, and I know people get in, and people have said
Well,
I
it's
could vote
broadcasting
or
now, too.
broadcasting. It's
new.
nonsense. I work for Naira. There is a very valid argument that I could be biased towards Naira. I'd like to think I'm not, and I don't consider myself overly biased, and despite the insanity of the paranoid people out west, I love West Coast racing, as you well know, but I don't believe people in my position. You work for Churchill Downs, you work for Stronach Group, you work for the New York Racing Association, you should not be voting, okay? You have a slightly different, though I frankly not comfortable with the idea that you vote anymore. You did have a radio show and stuff, but there's, look, everybody in this industry has too many conflicts of interest, to be honest with you. But I just don't think it's appropriate for people like me to have votes. And other people are going to do it. That's their business. They're entitled to, I suppose. I think the rules should be changed, but that doesn't mean I'm going to do it because other people are doing it.
Fair enough.
You know, I don't want to be, you know, and there are situations with friendships I have. Should I be voting for Owner of the Year? Should I really be voting for Owner of the Year? I'd like to think that I'm unbiased about it, and you know that I'm not. But in a year like this year, I'm not sure that my vote wouldn't be a bit biased. So I don't know. I think those things should be taken seriously. And
I think the fact that they don't give us a criteria to vote by enables, and listen, you're one of the most upstanding citizens I know.
You may or may not be saying a lot.
You having a vote, I don't think your bias. I certainly don't think I'm not going to say your bias wouldn't creep in a little bit because we're all human.
That's the problem, and I work in NYRA.
You're not going to
go overboard, but I work for NYRA. I shouldn't be voting on these things.
Fair enough.
The vote should not be for people who are working for racing organizations. You work for Churchill, you work for Stronach Group, you work for NYRA, no vote, in my opinion. And I think that's a very simple thing to fix, I believe.
All right.
Race number 5. Kid Cash, take a look at Kid Cash. This is 2 races back before they tried the turf. That didn't work out. I think with the pedigree, Rudy wanted to give one shot in the turf. This was pretty good. Now, I will say the pace really held together in this race, which benefited him. This horse has been running good dirt races, though.
Good dirt races. Yeah, and he's been doing a lot of running in the good dirt races. Now he gets back to his preferred surface, like you said, with the pedigree. I know Rudy had gotten some feedback from the riders who said maybe try the turf. Blinkers went on last time, too. That turf race was against winners. With that said, he's getting back to the surface where he certainly appears to be at home on the main track. Does draw inside now. We'll see how much speed Kendrick Carmouche, how much of his speed he's going to have to use or want to use from in there.
Oh, he's quick.
Yeah, he's supposed to be gone. And, yeah, if he runs one of his first 2 dirt races, you would have to think he's going to be awfully tough today.
He's going to be tough. They're going to have to run to beat him. There are firsters in here. There are some fuzzies. I don't like the 3. I know I've got him 3rd. You've got him 3rd.
Me too.
I know he ran okay last time. We'll take a look at him. But the reality was, with all due respect, and the winner was a first-time starter, so who knows? Maybe he'll turn out to be okay. This was a hungry-looking bunch in here, and nobody was betting. In fact, you could argue the winner, the Eddie Barker horse that ended up 5-1, was the one who was really
He was the one that
betting
was bet.
I think there was a Pletcher horse that was hovering around 5-2. Is that right in here? That just kind of was like, they're not really betting that horse, you know?
Wait, was this the
Inspiration
was this the
Point?
Chrome? Oh, Inspiration Point.
I don't think
who's
this was
in
Inspiration
tomorrow?
Point, was it?
Was it the Chrome horse?
Oh, you're right. I think it was the Chrome horse.
That's in tomorrow as well. But I think they're both in tomorrow. Inspiration Point and the Chrome horse. Lots and lots of. Is it lots and lots of Chrome? I don't know. That might not be right.
It's
the Chrome.
hard-
There
it's
was
hard
like
to-
7 1/4 Chrome. I can't
There's
remember.
a lot.
now.
There's a lot flowing around my brain.
Me too. But yeah, a subset. The problem is only half the field's run. So I guess there's 3 firsters in here. One of the horses didn't do much running as well.
62.5% of run. I'm going to help you with your math
Thanks.
for this
Thanks.
opportunity.
It's Nerves of Steel kind
You
of
can
snuck
thank
in
me.
with the
You
first.
can thank me later, sure.
I mean, we're guessing.
Well, I like Nerves of Steel. Now, I had liked him in a
Okay.
race a while back, and he was scratched. I'm not even sure it wasn't in Belmont. Does that seem possible? I remember him being scratched. I remember I liked him, and Mike Beer liked him. We both liked him in a spot. You know what? He might have been in the Return of the Ring race, November 28th. I think he was in that race.
Oh, that's possible.
I think he was in the race that Subsidize was in, because I remember thinking I liked a horse in there. This horse ran in a killer field
Yeah,
last
big,
time. Got a
gigantic,
sloppy
yeah.
track. He's actually got a little bit of speed, this horse. So don't be surprised when he's forward in here. This horse is quick, and he ran a killer field. I think he's a little bit interesting. I'm going to use this horse. He's the one who scares me a lot in this race. I mean, listen, Run Smitty Run ran a good race as well, but Nerves of Steel comes out of that very, very
Run
live
Smitty
race.
Run gets a pair of blinkers today. It's a late equipment change.
You know all that stuff now. You've got Kawhi Mia River, and I am a big Kawhi Leonard fan. I'm assuming it's got to be somehow related.
I think it's a
Kawhi.
combination of Kawhi Leonard and Justin Timberlake. Because Justin Timberlake has a song, Cry Me a River. Oh, oh, cry me a river. No.
You're
missed
kind
that
of
one?
you're like the Justin
horse racing
Timberlake.
Justin
Justin
Timberlake,
Timberlake's
yeah.
a very good actor.
I would think so.
He's a very good actor. He's been really good in a bunch of movies. What's that movie? What's the movie with the kidnapping? Bruce Willis is in it.
I like the movie. He's in a movie. Is that the movie with 50 Cent too?
Don't remember. That's
He's in-
another movie.
He's in the movie with the. He's in the sport the poker gambling online gambling movie with Ben Affleck.
I think I saw it.
That was good. I can't remember the name of it.
He's
right
in The Social Network. He's excellent in
Yep.
The Social Network. He plays Sean Parker. Anyway, I don't know. This is much more of a turf pedigree, Kawhi Mia River, though. 3 decent turf runners from the dam.
now. Yeah, John has horses down south though. No surprise. That's why I said to myself, you know, he's running this horse in a dirt sprint. He's a son of Cantheros.
Well, maybe he's just not any good.
Leave it. Well, maybe.
No, I'm not. Listen, you know, I'm
Reaches out for one of our leading riders and Jose Lascano first time out. I don't know. I thought he was a
well,
little.
Jose rides for him a lot, so
Yeah.
you know. No, I'm not. You got a little story on this horse? Is this a
No, not at all.
Jason
Not at
didn't
all.
give you a story?
No, not at all.
One of his other Twitter
I got
accounts didn't
nothing.
give you a story? One
I
of
got
his
nothing.
Burner accounts?
I got nothing.
Okay, just checking.
No story. Hit 100,000 for him.
No,
I don't know.
Well, the Cantheros sold fairly well.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm never shocked when John Terranova horses run well. Race number 6 gave me a massive headache. You know, I get that the 8's going to be the favorite near Big Beggy's Tribute. Will show him loosen to a customer experience. She ran fine in here. She easily beat Jason Bryan. Make or Break as well, who came back and has now been claimed by Merton Cantromasi. You know I don't like this field. I don't like this field. The winner had an absolutely perfect trip to win. I don't know. These horses can win. None of them did anything for me.
I don't want to say this was lazy, but like you, I couldn't really. I just took the 2nd and 3rd place finishes out of here because nothing else really tickled my fancy here. If you have another idea, I'm race 6, guys, not 7. If you have another idea, I would love to hear it because, like you, I did not love making these 2 picks, but I just could not get. I couldn't go outside the box and find anything else.
I'm not going to be shocked when the horses you pick run 1-2 here.
I couldn't find anything.
Well, let me ask you a question. We'll take a look at Amos winning in the slop 2 back. And I know that was an off-the-turf bad field. And last time out was we were racing the slop. Are we sure that Amos isn't okay? I mean, you love these Wayne Potts horses, but you don't want any part of this horse in here? I mean, she's running buyer figures that are faster than these. I know they were sloppy tracks.
On the wet tracks, the fast track races are hungry, Andy.
I'm not. Yeah,
Her best figure on a wet track on a fast track's a 59.
You're not wrong about that. I don't disagree. You're right. It's a fair point. It's a fair point. I don't think that's her best figures. No, she got a 59, right? You're right.
Yeah, 59.
I don't know. I'm not. You may be right. I'm also just not sure
Comes with
she's
a 59
not okay.
here, she's going to go home with her feelings hurt.
I'm not sold though that she's just a wet track horse, and I'm going to take a shot with her. I don't love her.
Okay.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. The horse that I wanted to make in here was the one. Inveterate. And it's a tough situation because Trevor McCarthy is supposed to come out winging on this horse.
No question about it.
If I had to make an argument for her, I would say she needs to be in front to be effective. The problem is, and it's not Trevor's fault, Cousin Basil's a lot faster. So I worry.
But you got to take the fight to the other speed.
If he could, I mean, you break from the rail, you'd have to worry that she gets off a step slow.
Now listen.
But if Inveterate can get clear in this race, she was atrocious last time.
She might not be able to run a step anymore.
That's what concerns me.
But you're going to find out at 20-1. You're not going to find. I mean,
I don't know if she'll be 20-1.
Say 12. Let's say 12-1. Let's say she takes some action.
I'm a little worried.
You're still going to find out at a square price.
I almost put her on top. I thought about it. I almost felt like she was a reckless pick to put on top.
Well, you know, if you pick a former part, and we have a few minutes, right?
Yeah,
you pick a former part. She debuts sprinting, a couple of turf races.
We can interrupt you. We could go until like 12:15
Sure.
if we want.
I have a lot of changes. The one time she went a mile on the dirt, one turn, she galloped in her maiden race.
The problem is she has been embarrassingly bad since then.
But hold on.
And her Churchill race last time was atrocious.
returns on the turf, catches a sloppy track.
Then she's supposed to run last time.
Okay, she did not run.
That's what concerns me.
But it's not like, you see, you would look, if you gave her form a quick glance, and you looked at her last 4 races, you would just be like, oh my God, this filly's gotten beat 100 lengths combined.
Right, well, she ran the Gulfstream Park Oaks. That's why.
Gulfstream Park Oaks, turf, sloppy track.
Anthony, if she didn't have her last race, I would lose a fortune on her today.
Oh, if she didn't have her last race, she'd be 5-1.
But the problem is, she has her last race.
She does. I don't disagree, but you know
what?
what?
I mean, the horse who won the race was the speed.
We're going to get to that.
She couldn't make it to the far turn.
We're going to get to that in the last.
We're
going to get to that on my end in the last race. Is she, should she be? Is she a real 20-to-1 shot? No. I mean, I don't think she'll be that.
Got a race that can beat these.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody in here is supposed to be that big a price.
Agreed.
Race number 7 got just completely kafluied by scratches, particularly the scratch of.
We'll have the winner of this race.
Well, what happens with these scratches is that the number 6 horse, Someday Jones, is dramatically negatively affected by scratches. While I thought this horse was very interesting because I didn't trust Looking at Bikinis, and Looking at Bikinis was forward in here, aren't you worried that Rock on Luke can just wire the field a little bit? Aren't you worried that the 6, Someday Jones, is dramatically negatively affected by the scratches?
But isn't Lil Commissioner not supposed to let Rock on Luke out of his sights? And
right,
I think
but
he has enough.
Problem, Anthony.
He has enough speed to do that.
That's why I put him on top. But having said that, how slow is the pace going to be? And at the end of the day, while I don't love Lil Commissioner, I think that tactically he's the best horse that's going to be on the engine here. And I think there's a very good chance these 2 horses run around the track together, because we'll take a look at Mios when he finished ahead of Lil Commissioner. It just feels like the dynamics are going to be completely different.
Agreed. So here's the case for Mijos, who I had second to Looking at Bikinis and now becomes my top pick. And here he is chasing Lil Commissioner home last time and getting past him. So he's another one, I think, if you start to take apart his form a little bit, he's running some spots where he really couldn't win. And now he's going to get stretched back out to a mile. His distance races around 1 turn, right? He broke his...
7's a little better, but he does have the Mucho Macho.
Yeah, he's got the Mucho Macho Man win. He only got beat 6 lengths to Code of Honor in the Dwyer. And I feel, look...
I got a little love for this horse.
I know you do.
I am just sick and tired of him losing.
And listen,
that's my problem with him. And in a race where there's not going to be any substantial pace, I just feel like he's not going to... I'm sick and tired of waiting for him to put together some good race. I know he's good. I mean, this is a horse that must drive Jimmy Jerkins crazy. Because in Jimmy's heart, he knows that this horse is a stakes quality type horse that just annoys him. Like every time he brings him there, he thinks, I'm good enough to win this race, and he just must walk back to his barn shaking his head. Now, is some of it because he's not a speed type? Yeah, but he's run some good races. He's been in situations where he's gotten some paces, and he just fails to show up. I love Mijos to win this race. I always seem, I have an affinity for the Centennial horses for some reason. I can't trust this guy. I just can't. And I'm not gonna be shocked if he wins.
I'm not saying I don't blame you.
You know,
I think he may. I don't think he needs to show up as much as he would have had to had the field stayed together, namely if Looking Bikini stayed around. So. And
I'm going to say something about Someday Jones. There is absolutely no doubt he was compromised last time because the pace held together, and that was the gold rail, and that was a super ride on Zoomer by Cardenas. Mm-hmm. It wasn't as good a ride as Jose Lezcano gave this horse, because he got this guy to the rail.
He gave him every chance to win.
He got him in the race. He had him on the inside, and he didn't angle out to the stretch. Is it arguable that he was a little bit negatively affected because he was trying to close outside and the other was on the inside?
No fault of Jose.
There's a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But don't make the mistake of looking and saying 3 wide upper. This is why you have to watch races. This guy was on the rail for 6 furlongs
of
a mile and an eighth race. So he had the benefit of the rail. So that's one of the reasons I think he's a little dressed up. And his win 2 back, that race just collapsed. I think he's not impossible, but he's going to be pace compromised, and I think he looks a little bit better on paper than he might be, as much as I respect Maker horses off the claim, though his claim numbers are better on the turf than they are on the dirt.
They are. But there is always that factor as well. It is first-time Maker, so. It's an interesting race. It's a very interesting race. I mean, obviously, I don't think we'd be surprised if any of the 4 horses won.
No, I'll be honest. I think that Rock on Luke's last race was Rock on Luke's last race was legitimately okay. Maybe this horse is just improving. I don't know. I actually considered putting this horse on top. Small field, lone speed. I don't know. Now, yes, I think Kendrick is going to try to be out there, but he's not that fast.
No.
And I don't love Lil Commissioner in here. This is a very tricky race. I don't disagree. They can all win. Maybe if field gets bunched, it doesn't really matter who has the advantage. That's why I think the one.
That's kind of what happened.
Use the speed.
That's kind of what happened for our girl, Mrs. Orb, the other day. She kind of got pulled in a little earlier.
Is she retired, or is she going to come?
So I was talking to Keith McCalman about this, and he
knows about horses that aren't from Canada.
Well, he went downstairs and he talked to the connections after the stakes went on.
He talks to people that aren't from Canada. Maybe they have like Canadian.
And he was told that she is still going through the auction. I believe she set for Monday. Sale starts Monday.
For some reason, the 11th is on my mind.
Monday.
Is that Monday? Yeah.
Sale starts Monday. It goes through Thursday.
You heading down?
I'm not.
They're selling 47,000 horses.
I'm not.
Race number 8. Race number 8. I was shocked. I thought you'd pick number 1 Dylan, so I picked Shandi, and I thought they were the 2 horses here, and we picked in the same order. I would have gone the other way if I knew. Why do you like Shandi?
Listen, I don't know what happened last time, kind of like with Inveterate. I don't.
Well, I know what happened.
15.
Horse got involved in a ridiculously.
Well, the pace was wicked,
I know.
Yeah.
Well, since you don't know what happened.
But do you think it
you let me finish?
necessitates
You gonna let me
that
finish?
bad of an effort?
Gonna let me finish? Just let me finish before you do.
You're asking me to let you
Well,
finish?
because you said I don't know what happened. I do. Not only did this horse go, and the reason this horse ended up in the lead was because ink spots didn't break. So then he goes, and then ink spots is running. But when he tried to angle inside and get back into the race, horse backed up, like he got shoved down to the rail, and he just got completely taken out of the race. I'm not saying he would have won, but he had significant trouble when he tried to re-rally in there. So not only did he get in trouble because ink spots breaks, he's able to rate and
Different
sit
story.
second.
Yeah.
Because that he had to go, he's on the engine, he gets caught inside, they're going. I'm not saying he was going to win, but he had the fast pace and he got in trouble in the stretch. So that's
from the inside. He was kind of, I guess his hand was even, forced ink spots or no ink spots, and now he gets a little post.
Well, but if ink spots breaks, he clears.
Yeah, he clears
he's a
and he
bullet,
just gets around
and it's a
them.
little bit different.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he would have won, but it's different. But I like number 1 Dylan a lot last time. He was out in the middle of the racetrack, and my gosh, he was 3-4 wide. He's been claimed by Atris. I don't know if I agree with David. See, I think number 1 Dylan's going to be favored here. That's the other reason I actually didn't pick him. I think he's going to be a 5-2, 3-1 favorite in here because of Atris. Now, let's David have him 7-2, 4-1. So it is what it is. I actually thought number 1 Dylan though might be a shorter price, and that's why I put him a second.
Okay.
But they're the 2 horses I want here. I'll be honest with you. He's got the 10 as the favorite. Why? Off a maiden 20 win, he's supposed to be favored in here. David's usually right. I don't like that horse.
I don't love that. I mean, I guess he could win, but he beat another, a horse that's starting to develop into a money burner in Vermont Billy. It was a wet track.
A money burner. He's just not much horse.
Well, I'm just
should have won that race.
He's taken some money.
Well, he ran the
in a couple of
turf.
his starts.
He ran the turf.
Okay.
And he took money, and it was a terrible bet. I don't really know where else to go in this race, to be honest.
I thought Blue City might be a little interesting. You have him a third. You have him third. I have him fourth.
Well,
I don't like the fact that this horse. You and I have talked about this. We've gone back and forth about this. This horse was not. Linda enters almost all of them for. Oh, well, you know what? Never mind. This horse wasn't eligible for the waiver. My mistake.
The problem with Blue City. See, I don't mind picking Blue City because Linda Rice horse would be a big price.
Right.
The problem with Blue City is he's never been any good. I hate to say that. I will, but he's owned by a friend of mine.
He'd have to really
probably would agree with me that he's never really run a particularly fast race.
He'd have to step up to.
He got an absolutely ridiculous trip last time, and I'm not blaming Eric Cancel, but this horse was completely dragged out of the race. He had a bump in the start.
First start since February.
He just got completely dragged out of this race and had no chance, and he had a big wide trip in there. I think he's a little interesting in here at a price. He's
Probably not going to be 12-1, but even at 8-1.
Why? He's slow. How short can he be?
It's still Linda and Liscano. It's second off the layoff. There's not a lot of places to go in here.
Slow.
Andy.
No, he's slow. I don't agree with you.
You weren't surprised that Breeze Bayou was the favorite? Because I was. I mean, if some of that money evens out.
I don't agree with David. I don't think he's going to be favored.
Some of that money
I think he'll
evens
be
out.
second or third choice at best. I think the favorite's going to be number 1.
I think you're going to see a lot of 8 and 9-1 shots in the middle. I think you'll see Blue City around there, David's Gem, Healy's Hope. Macho Boy will take some money. I think you'll see quite a few of them in that. You'll see like 6 or 7 horses in here under double digits. I think the outliers will be the 1.
This is worth a conversation,
3,
you think?
and the 9. I think it's I think it's an interesting pick 5 and pick 4 sequence because I don't think there's a standout in the feature. We just made cases for all 4 of them. This race, there's potential for chaos in here.
Head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, you need to go to nairabets.com right away and sign up. Support racing in New York. Use the promo code MATCH200, and you can sign up. Become a member of Naira Bets. We will match up to $200 of your initial deposit. Also, 2% rebate on Thursdays. Action at Aqueduct. Aqueduct only. Play through the app. Get 2% back on Naira Bets. Empire 6 kicks off in race number 3 of our 8-race card. Once again, we're giving out the entire pool today and every day. See how Jose just did that? He knew to put it up. That's why Jose.
18. Claude in front of us. Jose in our ear. I mean, this is it. This is it.
I know, the only problem are the 2 jerks sitting in the desk.
This is what you do. 1.
Okay, Anthony's the problem. Anyhow, speaking of the problem, he's got such humility.
Was it Cobra? Crime's a disease. He's the cure.
What are we
Stallone.
talking about?
Remember Cobra with Brigitte Nielsen?
Yeah, I didn't see a lot of Stallone movies
man.
besides Rocky.
Cobra was
and
fantastic.
Bananas.
And what?
And Bananas.
That's what I thought you said. Cobra was awesome.
Do you know, remember Stallone? And, well, actually, my favorite Stallone movie besides Rocky, which is the greatest, is Cliffhanger. And I'm watching it. I can't fall asleep, and it's on like one of the BBC or something in the middle of the night. And I'm watching it. We're getting towards the good stuff late, and Spectrum Cable had an upgrade, and my cable went off. Copland is a great movie. I saw Copland at the Malta Drive-In.
Copland's good. I love Stallone. Come on, man. Rocky and Rambo.
I would never see Rambo. Those are stupid movies.
There's no First Blood.
No interest whatsoever.
See the original First Blood was.
No interest
like
whatsoever.
First Blood.
I don't like those movies.
He was supposed to die. In the book, he dies in First Blood. In the book, the character John J. Rambo dies. Stallone got to the set. He was filming Rocky 3. Stallone got to the set and said something like, "What are you guys doing killing this guy? I can make $1 zillion with this guy," and they changed the ending. Richard Crenna is supposed to shoot him in the fireworks store at the end, but he doesn't in the movie.
This is why, like, sometimes you sit through the credits of movies, and sometimes you see good stuff at the end of the credits. This is why you have to stay on Talking Horses. You get to learn incredible things about movies. I was watching When We Were Kings yesterday, the Spike Lee documentary about the fight in Zaire. I could watch things about Muhammad Ali for like just endless hours. Truly one of the absolute greatest men of my lifetime.
Just like his
Incredible.
Entertaining, unbelievable.
He's a brilliant guy too, and speaking of things at the end of the movie, George Plimpton's talking about seeing him speak to the Harvard graduating class one year and talking about it. And Ali was everything good you could possibly be. To me, he's one of the true great American heroes. Just I could watch Ali forever and ever. Just listen to him, watch him fight. Some of those fights, what he did to beat Foreman in that fight is unbelievable. Anyway, we're done. He's not. He's going to call the races. I'll be back between races to give the prattles, but Anthony will be up in a minute with the reprise, scratches and changes.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Aqueduct.